Hello Year 9 and welcome to your third lesson on development. In this lesson we're going to learn the demographic transition model. When it comes up on the screen is going to look a little bit confusing, but if we tell it like a story then it actually makes a lot of sense. The demographic transition model uses two pieces of data to tell us information about a country, which allows us to make a judgment about whether a country is developed. So is a country making good progress in terms of healthcare, education, the independence of women, and also the quality of infrastructure? If you have a low birth rate, it means that your country has women who are working rather than having babies. It means that you have got a good healthcare system, so you don't have to have lots of babies in case one of yours dies. It tells us that there is access to contraception. If your country has a low death rate, it means that the healthcare is really good, so people are living longer. It means that the infrastructure is good and people are educated on how to live a healthy lifestyle. And all the demographic transition model does is put these two pieces of information and also population growth information onto one graph and splits it into 5 stages. And this is where we're going to start today. So if you look on the screen now, you will see this graph and it is split into 5 stages. Okay, so we're going to start at the very beginning of our development path and we're going to start all the way over in stage 1. Okay, if you look at the graph, birth rate is in blue and death rate is in the green line. Okay, we're going to just focus on that for now. That is all we're going to look at right now. We can see that birth rate and death rate are both really high in stage 1. And this is mainly because healthcare is a bit rubbish. So lots of people will die really soon. They don't have things like vaccination, so you can't get an injection to stop you from getting some diseases. And women have lots of babies because most of the jobs are in farming. So when the babies become a little bit older, they can go out and earn money for the family. Stage 1 is not a great stage to be in because it is very poorly developed. If we then move into stage 2, something starts to happen, okay? This death rate line, this green line, starts to fall, and that tells us that there is some healthcare improvements. There might now be some vaccines so you don't die of disease. There might now be some clean water so you don't get diarrhea and poo yourself all the time, okay? Birth rate stays really high because women are still having lots of babies because they don't really have anything else to do. Now, stage 3, that middle stage, is my favourite stage because this is where countries now really start to develop. Our death rates continue to fall, which is great because it means our healthcare is getting better. But if you look at the blue line in stage 3, that tells us that birth rate is starting to fall. And the reason that happens is because women are now having education and they're starting to go to work. So they don't want any more babies. They want to go to work instead. And this is brilliant because now there are less babies in the country. We can invest in lots of other things rather than trying to feed our growing population. We can make our healthcare better, we can make our education better, and we can make our infrastructure better. And this is when countries really start to develop and start to get rich super quickly. Moving into stage 4 then. This is the stage that countries would dream to be in. Okay, this is where they all want to get to. Birth and death rates now are really low. So healthcare must be fantastic because people are living for a much longer time. Education must be better because women are now working and wanting careers. Also, they know about contraception, so they know about all the things that you can do to stop you from having a baby. This is where countries are considered HICs, high income countries, because they don't have to spend lots of money on supporting their growing population because their population growth is slowing down because there are now the same amount of people dying as there are being born, which is great. And then once we get to stage 5, this is the stage where we do not want to be in year 9, okay? We want to avoid stage 5 because if you look at the blue line, it has now fallen below the green line. Okay, and this is now that the death rate is now higher than the birth rate because there are now so many old people. Healthcare is so fantastic. People are living until they're about 90 years old. Okay, which is fantastic. We love it. That's brilliant. But the problem is that now women aren't having maybe 0 or 1 babies. Okay, so all of these people are now dying because they've hit such an old age, but there are no babies to replace all of those people. So the population, as you can see on the orange line, in stage 5 will now start to decrease. And if your population decreases, you start losing money. So we do not want to be in stage 5 at all. So a quick recap. Stage 1, high birth and death rate, poor countries. Stage 2, death rate starts to fall, but birth rate stays high, still quite poor countries. Stage 3, death rates have fallen and birth rates also start to fall. This is where we get richer. These are our newly emerging economies. Stage 4, low birth rate, low death rate, rich HIC countries. Stage 5, very, very low birth rates, and your death rate is starting to go up because all of those old people are starting to die. And that is all the demographic transition model is. All you need to be able to do is say what happens to those squiggly lines, the blue and the green line, as you move from stage 1 to 5. Every country in the world should fit into one of these stages, which leads us really nicely to our next task. What I need you to do for me now, Year 9, is I want you to open the Word document called the Demographic Transition Model and Characters. You will see a copy of the Demographic Transition Model, and you will also see 5 characters. And those 5 characters all represent a stage on the DTM, which is the Demographic Transition Model. What I want you to do is I want you to match the characters to the correct stage of the Demographic Transition Model. So, for example, if you looked at the work example box, developing, you might say that Horrid Henry belongs to stage 1 because if you look at Horrid Henry's speech bubble, it says birth rates are really high and also death rates are really high, and we know that that best describes stage 1. Then I want you to try and match the country to the stage. Your master task then is to think about why would it be so bad to be in stage 5 of the DTM. If you want to really impress your teacher, you are going to link it to economic growth in the future. So how will it affect the money in the future? Open up that Word document then, go back and listen to me talking about the DTM if you need a little bit of extra help, okay? But look at the bold text on the character speech bubble because that will really help you in remembering which part of the demographic transition model it fits into. That brings us to the end of your lesson, Year 9. So all you have to upload this week is the explanation of which stage each cartoon character would link to, and the countries also linked to the stage, because that would show me that you have met all 3 parts of our learning journey this lesson. So really, really well done for listening so hard about such a difficult concept, and we are really excited to see in all of your work about this model. Thank you.